This is my first attempt to use Snagit to give you a visual tutorial, and I'm going to start with writing covered calls. The main discussion points are, I would like to talk about what a covered call is. It's a type of option. And secondly, the elements of the covered call order, and finally, submitting a covered call order. Now, the reason that there is an advantage to writing covered calls is that you can make additional profit if you sell the option for someone else to buy your shares at a set price. And as you can see on this screen, this is a list of all of the transactions I've done for Advanced Micro Devices, ticker symbol AMD. In January of 2018, I bought 200 shares and shortly thereafter sold the 200 shares for a small profit of $72.24. Then in March of 2020, I decided to buy 100 shares of AMD, and I paid $48.78 for those shares. I then, in the next couple of months, in both April and May and June, sold a covered call for my 100 shares. In the first transaction, I made a profit of $294.30. In the second one, I made a profit of $74.30. And in the third one, I made a profit of $49.30, for a total profit of $417.90. And it should be noted that in none of these transactions did I lose my shares, because the price on the date that the call expired did not reach the price that I had set, which was $59 for the first two and $58 for the third one. And so this is a very powerful way to potentially earn income from your investments. You must have 100 shares, though, a minimum of 100 shares, in order for you to be able to sell covered calls of positions that you own. You should also be willing to lose your shares. So, for example, if any one of these transactions, the price had closed at or above $59 on the date that the call was to expire, then I would have had to sell my shares for the price that I agreed to, which in the case of the first two would have been $59, giving me a decent profit, because my initial purchase price was $48.78. And even in the case of the $58 one on June 9th, I still would have a nice profit. And then the last entry in this line, or this spreadsheet, is actually a different type of option, and I'm not going to talk about that one, but there is a note on that one that you can read. Now, the first thing that I do when I'm looking to sell a covered call is I want to understand what the current market is for my shares. And in this particular example, I was selling one covered call, which is 100 shares, which would expire on June 26th, and I was setting a price of $56. As you can see, this is above the price at the time that the screenshot was taken. Shares were trading at $54.82. And I determined that I wanted to get $1.35 for each one of my shares. So had my transaction been accepted by some buyer, I would have received a profit of $135, but I would have had to sell my shares. I would have had to sell my shares on June 26th for $56. So therein lies some of the risk that I would have to give up my shares in order to get the profit of $135 less the commission costs that Fidelity charges. So I decided to enter the order, and on this screen I'm reviewing it, and as you can see on this screen that the commission for this particular trade is 65 cents, so my net profit would have been $134.35 for this covered call. So this is the preview screen, and as you can see on this screen there is a entry, sell the covered option for $56. And then I submitted the covered call, and it's entered in there, and it shows that I was willing to sell to open an expiring call for June 26th for $56 for $1.35 per share. But the share price is, the bid price, in other words, what somebody's willing to pay for this covered call, was only $1.22. And others were willing to sell their shares for $1.25. And as it turns out, my price was probably too high for this particular transaction. But I did submit the order, and in this particular case, the day closed with no one accepting my offer, and so my order was canceled. The beauty of this is that I can continue to now enter additional transactions to attempt to earn income on my 100 shares until such time as I decide not to do it anymore. Trust this was helpful to you. I welcome questions if you have any.